What's good, YouTube? I'm Ricky Fontaine. I'm back with another segment of what I like to call Ricky Fontaine On. And tonight we are on the next installment of the Power series called Power Book 2, Ghost. We're gonna do a recap with some commentary and go into some theories of what I think, not what I've read, but what I think is gonna happen sometime this season. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, all that good old stuff. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. They're back. The St. Patrick's, y'all, they are at it again in this second installment of the Popular Power series called Power Book 2, Ghost. I, for one, thought that it was going to be kind of different without James St. Patrick, aka Ghost. He's supposed to be dead, but anyway, we got all our theories about that. But actually, the series was pretty dope to start off with. The songs remained the same. Everybody loved the song. You remember when they tried to change the song towards the end of last season and everybody got pissed off about it? But they brought the song back on, changed the art to make it fit Tariq and what's going on with that. They started off with a recap, which I thought pretty much is letting you know who's going to be in this season. So, you had, obviously you got Tasha dealing with what she's doing with the covering up for Tariq because he murdered his dad. And you got the baby, Yasmin. Or yeah, we don't even really see her, but yeah, you got Yasmin. So you got those three. You got some carryover. The carryovers: Tamika, Cooper Sacks, Tasha's mom Estelle, who pretty much keeps Yasmin throughout the duration of all this stuff that's been going on. Tyreek, old girl Effie, who turned him in for the pill thing he was doing back at his old school. She back. And then there's some other carryovers and stuff from the other seasons that's coming over. But anyway, let's go ahead and get down to what really happened. So we start off with Tariq, a little highlight show of him getting ready to go get ready to go off to class or whatever, and mixed in with Tasha being hauled off to her bail hearing in chains. And you kind of see all this stuff going on at the same time because Tariq is actually on his way down to the bail hearing, but he also has an important meeting for school with Mr. Stern, and he pretty much helped pull some strings to get him into that college or whatever. But before he does that, he heads down to the bail hearing where he meets with Tamika. Now, Tamika has played a role in trying to arrest Ghost and Tasha and stuff for quite a long time, but it was kind of fun for me to see her on her side as a lawyer now. That was kind of weird. And she also lets Tariq know that apparently Tasha has talked her into a plan of her pleading guilty to the murder of Ghost, but also she acted in a self-defense. And they was going to try to destroy Ghost's character and everything to try to get her off or whatever. And she would actually probably get a plea deal out of that to get bail or whatever. But long story short, the story didn't hold up in court. She didn't get bail, so she's back in prison. So after Tariq gets that bad news, he notices that he's really, really running late for this meeting with Mr. Stern and some of the officials from the school or whatever. You remember also at the end of the last season, Tasha made sure that Tariq got admission to that school from Mr. Stern so he can graduate from college. She actually trying to make sure that he does get the nightclub truth in trade for his admission or whatever. But anyway, he gets there finally running late or whatever. And, they thank him for joining the school or whatever, yada, 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 woo, 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 until they throw the first monkey wrench in the thing. They were saying that there has been an added stipulation into his admission and that he has to be a tutor. Well, this tutor He's supposed to be tutoring this guy named Ezekiel Cross, who's a star basketball player at this school or whatever. And basically, Tariq is supposed to babysit this dude and do all of his work for him. And if Ezekiel doesn't play, Tariq doesn't stay. So there's already added pressure to him wanting to go to this school and graduate. Now he has to babysit somebody. So that's crazy in itself. We also meet up with new characters along the way. Like he met a girl named Lauren. You guys know her from The Oval, the president's really badass daughter that gets on everybody's nerves or whatever, and she helps him. Um, we also meet up with his advisor, who pretty much looks after him and want to look after him because of the situation that's going on with his mom and dad being murdered and everything or whatever, and trying to guide him easy into things. But he wants to keep you know going on and stuff, and so much so that he wants to do the accelerator program um, so he can graduate early, so he can get the trust fund that Ghost left him at the end of last season. Y'all should remember that. He doesn't want to be baby. He just wanted an opportunity. So now you got the basketball player, you got the accelerator program, you got all of this stuff going on. That's too much, man. Um, anyway, back to Tamika and Tasha. So after the denied bail, the cross examiner or whoever the person is on the other side came in and gave her Tamika a good deal with her about pretty much 4 years probation, something to the likes of that, with no jail time served, all the other stuff she'd be getting out of jail like that following afternoon or whatever. And it was one kink to that too. All she had to do was just tell the truth on who helped her, because Tamika had her theories about, you know, um, she was so precise with everything. She knew exactly what time Ghost was going to be, where he was going to be, what time that party that he had was going to be over, yada yada yada, whatever. It was too smooth for her to be by herself. So Tamika started to question her, knew she was lying and trying to pressure her into telling who helped her. So much so that she actually brought up Tariq, the person that really did help her, y'all. But she didn't go there. And when she brought up a son name, she just fired him. And when she fired her, that plea deal went out the window. So um, Tamika's surprised because she didn't think that she'll be fired. Tamika calls Tariq, and Tariq is irritated about the fact that her mom just fired her best opportunity to get out of prison. Um, and now Tariq, on top of all the other BS he's dealing with, is now tasked with finding another lawyer, another high-profile lawyer who's going to be able to take on this case and get his mom off. Enter one Mr. McLean, who is played by Method Man. Um, he is uh, Tariq is trying to hire him to join the team for his mom to help get her off or whatever. But he don't want no part of it. So he's kind of still asking him until he just tells him, all right, look, if you want me, you got to give me $500,000 up front, and then we'll talk or whatever. Basically, it's like how you can't afford me, kid, back off. But we know something's up with that or whatever. So right now, Tariq is stuck with trying to hustle to get this money to pay for this guy to help his mom. And he finds it in the way of, if you guys remember, in the last season of Power, when Tasha was moving work out the daycare. That's not easy to say, but she was moving work out of a daycare, and one of the people that the person that she used to move the drugs and stuff out the center was a stripper named Epiphany. Well, Tariq finds her information, and he wants to go ahead and get that grind going again, so he can get some funds to pay for this lawyer. Um, Tasha hears his plan, but she's begging him not to do that, and she just wants him to go to school and do what he's supposed to do and not worry about her or whatever. But he said he's going to take care of his mom. Against her wishes, he still goes ahead and move forward with his plan of getting back into the drug game or whatever. So now you got that plan in place, but you have no work. So now we get reintroduced to our girl from Choate, uh, Effie. But before we met Effie, we met Braden. Braden was another roommate of his at Choate or whatever that just happened to show up in his room and was talking to him and letting him know that his parents pretty much financed the school that he was at or whatever. And so he's there. And he apologized about Effie. He heard about what happened, yada, yada, yada. And then brought on a light bulb in his head like, Effie messed me over, so she owed me. So he got the number for her to meet up with her to try to get some pills and stuff for her or whatever, and it worked out. She had her reasons. You were my competition, boo, and you that was just something for you, and whatever her excuse was, she still was a snitch. But anyway, he ended up getting stuff from her. The next day, he wakes up late, and he's late for his verbal exam with Miss Milgram, his his advisor or whatever, and he's going through the motions and stuff like that. But he ends up flunking this verbal exam because he didn't finish reading the book that they gave him to read or whatever. But Mr. Reynolds, another advisor, and Miss Milgram are very interested in Tariq based off of what he did show, and they were thinking maybe they should give him another chance to try to get in to the school or take this verbal thing or whatever because he had a lot of stuff going on. So he practically is given another chance, but that comes down the line when we find the information that he was given another chance. So now we jump back to Tasha, who is fresh off of firing her defense attorney, and now she is represented by a public defender who is way over her head. Yeah, she going to jail. But anyway, the opposing attorney comes in and lets Tasha know that she's going to be booked on all charges if she don't come forward with this accomplice and take the accomplice who helped her. So immediately she said Andre Coleman. So the lawyer's like, all right, I'm gonna check on this Andre Coleman dude over that you say that helped you or whatever. We're gonna get back to you, and then we'll see if this deal and stuff is still on the table. Anyway, we are introduced back into our friend Cooper Sachs, who is now being confronted in his office by the DNC representative Stephen Ott and John Mock. And we remember John Mock actually. Him and Cooper Sachs worked together, whatever, and Mock got him that job. But the DNC representative and Mock are trying to put Tasha up on these new charges as the kingpin over the whole organization that Ghost had or whatever. But Sachs was like, hey, we all know that Tasha wasn't, she helped. She was accomplice to it, but we all know that James St. Patrick, aka Ghost, was the head honcho to this business or whatever. But they are really pushing forward to put all of this stuff on Tasha, which makes me wonder. I'm just like, so why are they really trying to clear up this stuff on a dead man if he's really supposed to be dead? I'm sorry. Count me as one of the people who just really don't believe this dude is dead. Present a body, present a funeral, present an open casket funeral, so I can be the one that believes or whatever. But anyway, Sachs pretty much shuts the whole thing down and was like, I'm not going to do that. We're going to lead her over to local authorities. This is a domestic case. I'm done with it. So the DNC representative Ott is pissed off about it, and he's left. He just left or whatever. We're also introduced to Sachs's family or whatever, and that's a story in itself too, with all the pressure and stuff in their household, and they're kind of, I'm not gonna say wacko, but they're kind of weird too, and you can kind of see where Sachs get his nut job mindset from brother and sister and all the other stuff, but it's gonna be more on them. I'm looking forward to that actually to see. Now we understand how he gets down. So now we see Zeke and Reek head over to a party that's being thrown for him for, I guess for being on the team at this school or whatever. Welcome to college or something. It was something kind of party or whatever that we're introduced to um, more characters and stuff, starting off with his aunt, which is Monet, played by Mary J. Blige. Um, she has three kids, um, which is so-called Zeke's cousins, but Zeke calls them their brothers and sisters because he spent a lot of time around them. So you got Monet, you got Zeke, you got Dre, and you got his sister. I think of her name in a minute, but anyway, let's talk about Kane. Kane is played by my guy that played Bobby Brown on the New Edition and the Bobby Brown story. His name slipped me. I know I'm supposed to do research. Who cares? But y'all know who the guy is. Um, he is the wild. You could tell he's the wild bunch of the family because he gets into a nice little scuffle with a guy named Rail at the party because yeah, Kane pretty much took his chick. And there's a bathroom scene. Y'all know about it. Y'all, when y'all see it, y'all know about it. And real salty about it. So the two get to throwing blows or whatever, and Real get kicked out the party. But his gal says she wanted to stay, so it's technically not your gal no more. So he's pissed off about the savage moment that just happened. Everybody was all ooh and all and stuff like that. Oh, the other girl named the other sister, Kane's sister, his name is Diane, and she's pretty much looking after Reek there, telling them about the family and who's who and everything like that. And just talks about everything. Lets us know about her dad being locked up or whatever, yada yada yada. Before they can get too far, you still hear Rail out there. He is pissed. He telling Kane to come out there, you this and that, you hide behind your mama, da 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 da, whatever. So he got a pistol on his hip. Kane come out with a double barrel shotgun. Then Monet come out and was like, y'all need to squash this, let it go. Rail go home, and cooler heads kind of prevailed at that moment, and Rail was able to go walk away. Kane put his shotgun away, and the police rolled up just in time. And but yeah, you kind of figured that it was some other stuff that was gonna happen behind it. Yeah, it was true because some kind of way they end up meeting at some kind of factory down by the docks or whatever. And Red was coming up the steps. Kane was coming down the steps. Red looked up and see him. Kane got that shotgun. Bow bow. That's a wrap. That was a wrap for him. And he got in the car with his mom. His mom wiped blood splattered off his face or whatever, and they just rolled off. I'm just like, okay, this family is G. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, what is Reek really getting into by knowing these folks? More that's gonna come down the line too. So there's also a scene in there where Sax heads over to the Mika crib and talk about trying to get information about the St. Patrick case. But Tamika's on her job, and she's like, "Look, this client attorney privilege. I can't talk about it." But some questions that are asked to her by Sax pretty much puts him at the scene of the crime, and Tamika figures it out just like that, and she loses it. She's wondering why she was representing him in the first place. Sax put Tamika on the case to help get Tasha off because Tyreek plays Sax at Truth nightclub, and he knows that Reek has him, and at any moment he can always say that Sax was at Truth nightclub, and that's going to be the end of him. But he wants his job so bad that he was willing to use anybody to help Tariq and Tasha just so he can save his butt. And that's how Tamika came in. And she's not happy about it. That's a smart lady. She hurried up and kicked him out the house because anywhere sex goes, somebody either dies or somebody gets in trouble. Okay, so dude is bad news. And sadly, she was a pawn in this game to begin with, and that was pretty messed up. So my hat's off to you, Tamika. Keep being smart. Hopefully, we'll see more of you in this episode. So Tariq was still trying to get McClain to take the case. He uses the Instagram account of Zeke to thank McClain for taking the case and saying, we appreciate it or whatever. But McClain didn't. And all of a sudden, McClain started getting all these alerts and notifications. Hey, man, you awesome for taking this St. Patrick case. Da 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 blah 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 blah. And he was just getting all this publicity. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna meet up with you or whatever. And so they meet up at the school. Tariq gives him about 50 grand or whatever. And was like, all right, look, can we make this official or whatever? And they do. And Tariq kind of gives him the quick and dirty on what's going on with his mom's case or whatever. And pretty much lets him know to tell his mama to tell the truth about the whole thing. And that he's not afraid anymore to say the name of the person who killed him. So basically, I'm like, okay, maybe Tariq is finally manning up and he want to go ahead and own up to his stuff and get his mom out of jail so he can go in. It's at that moment I think McClain knew. I think he knew that Tariq had something to do with it. But he's one of those lawyers that the truth really don't matter. He just want to convince the jury that that person is innocent or whatever. So I think he know. So he goes and ends up going to talk with Tasha. And Tasha's surprised to see him. Everybody knew who this guy was or whatever. She's surprised to see him. And he presents the same deal that Tamika gave on the table. And he was like, but you have to tell the truth on what's going on. And also presents to her what Tariq demands were. And she kind of looked shocked, like, do he really want me to tell? Do he really want me to tell that it was him? Is he really going to give himself up for me? But y'all know as a mother, it's going to be hard to do that. She's not going to do that. She's not going to turn over her son or whatever. But it looked like she was about to, because the next day in court, she announced that she didn't pull the trigger, but she named Tommy Egan. Y'all know how crazy Tommy is. Y'all know it. If Tommy get word, if Tommy get word of this, and he already let her live that time, he let her live. And now she done brought his name back up in some other stuff again. That's gonna be ugly for Tasha. It's gonna be ugly for her. But anyway, so she gives Tommy up to the local authorities as saying that this is the person who did it or whatever. And the defense attorney, she pretty much says that they drop all the charges against Tasha or whatever. But as always, something always happens. So they give Sax and us the opportunity to bring Tasha up on Fed charges. So when she got those charges dropped locally, immediately the feds come up and say you are under arrest again for the murder of James St. Patrick, aka Ghost, and saying that she was the kingpin of the organization that was ran by Ghost. And again, we all know that Tasha wasn't the brains of this whole thing. The man that was the brains of this thing is actually supposed to be in the grave right now. So Sax goes up to talk to McClain. McClain is like, y'all know y'all wrong for this or whatever. yada yada yada, woo woo woo, and y'all can't do this or whatever. But Sack said yes we can, and drop off some piece of paper that he kind of read, that McLean read, that had some stuff on there that was just like, God, like what the? So he stops Rick and was like, hey man, what have you gotten me into? And Rick was like, look, you in a case, a big profile case that can get your name out there. And once you get my mom off, you can go after Cooper Sacks and everybody else who came after his family the wrong kind of way and take down that whole Justice Department. Because they have a history of, I don't think, with Angela, with Sachs, he got fired. Mock was the only one that left. He went to another job. He wasn't caught up in all the dirty scandal. You had some other people taking money from Colombian drug lords, all out of that area where they worked at. And they have a history, so it would be nothing for them to go in there and take them down or whatever. So I thought that was pretty cool. But McLean was like, all right, look, I want the rest of my money. He said, I want my rest of my 450,000. And pretty much he was like, it's on. Let's do it. So at the end, Reek is shown at the library, and he looks like he's getting ready to do his dumbest work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I look, you need to do your work, dog, or you don't need to play basketball. I don't care. Like I'm not finna do that. But yeah, each his own or whatever. But he's getting ready to do the work for Zeke. And when he thinks about Zeke, I guess he thinks about his uncle, the one that's locked up in jail, Diane's father, Diane Kane and Dre's father or whatever. And I'm thinking the reason why he looks him up is he needs to find a way to make this money to pay this lawyer. He still owe him about 450,000. So maybe he's thinking that, if they selling drugs, maybe he can get his work from him now to move the product, get product from them to move so he can pay. I don't know. But he Googles it. He sees Miss Monet in the background, and then we fade to black. So, dope episode. Like I said, I'm just wondering. The reason why he looked him up is this is my only way that I'm going to get this work, by going and getting in bed with these folks that you see. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, the show's about to get real, man, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next. So next week I'll follow up with you guys again, and we're gonna go do another breakdown, another commentary, and some more theories about what's gonna happen on episode 2. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'm Ricky Fontaine, and I'm out, man.